Good evening, everybody, and happy Friday. We finished the week off with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, S&P 500, and the NASDAQ all higher after we had the follow-through day on Monday. We had a slew of earnings reports come through, which were better than expected, some worse than expected. We covered that this week on the stream, but tonight there was an interesting piece of news coming out of Peloton. Yes, the fitness bike manufacturer Peloton is potentially going to be bought by Amazon. So we'll talk about that tonight. Hey, Sally's here, Bianca M, Paul Greenwell, Samuel Ramos, Chris Beeman, Otto is here, D Street Media, and Ken Kramer. Welcome, everybody. It's good to see you. The Empire State Building has a beautiful color on it tonight. It is red, white, and blue, and it is also changing multiple colors. 007 says happy Friday and nice weekend to all. Santa Monica Rodriguez is here. Elizabeth, good to see you. Charlie Richardson, welcome everybody. So I'm not sure why the Empire State Building is changing color so much tonight, but it does look quite beautiful. So let me put my computer away and then we will be good to go start the stream. Sarah G's here. Paul, hope you're having a good Friday. End of the week, everybody, but did anybody hear about the news, the potential M&A news, that Amazon may buy Peloton? And so Peloton was one of those stocks that was really all caught up in the hype of COVID, which rose to an astronomical valuation. The stock, I think, came crashing down to earth, and I think it's actually trading below levels that it was during 2020. So I think now is an attractive time for a lot of companies such as Amazon to start making their bids to potentially buy out the company. What do you guys think? Hey, Olivia Hour is here. Samantha J says hi, everybody. 007 says looks nice. Roy S is here, says hey Tom and happy Friday. Good evening, everybody. Elizabeth Santa Monica Rodriguez. Vinny Castellano, how are you, Vinny? So it may snow a little bit. It's supposed to snow for an hour from 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time until 10 p.m. Hey, Savi Sears says good evening, Tom and everybody. Wish everyone a happy weekend. What's up, Savi? Good to see you. We're standing outside of 8th Avenue looking at the Empire State Building as well as Madison Square Garden. Otto says the colors of the Empire State Building in honor of the Olympics. Ah, that's right. So the Olympics, I think the opening ceremony is tonight. Isn't that right, Otto? Kaylee Wilson says hi. Vinny Castellano. Roy S says Tom. The Empire State Building is celebrating the Olympics. Very cool. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a shortened stream tonight, everybody. So we may only be on for about an hour. Jenny G, good to see you. Dante Rose says hi, Tom. I hope all is good. Happy Friday, Dante. Hope you're well. Vinny Castellano says I'm boycotting the Olympics. Well, you know, Vinny, there's actually a lot of people that are technically boycotting the Olympics for a myriad of reasons, and I think the main reason, the biggest controversy is the humanitarian issues, let's so to say, that are happening in China, more specifically with the Uyghur groups, which is a marginalized community of Muslims in China. So that has been causing a big uproar, and a lot of people are, I guess you could say what Vinny Castellano said, a quote-unquote boycotting the Olympics. But I believe the opening ceremony is today, if I'm not mistaken, as we are right outside of the beautiful Moynihan train station, but this is actually the entrance to the post office. Hey, Penelope is here. What's up, Penelope? Penelope is joining us from Tennessee. Good to see you. Sammy Pay says, Tom, why is Snapchat up 58% today? Yes, so Sammy, yesterday we dedicated the entire live stream to talking about Amazon's earnings as well as Snapchat's. So Snapchat posted its first profitable quarter as a publicly traded company. Rock Band 5 million, it's good to see you. I hope you're well. Dante Rose, good to see you. Kitchen Labs is Tom, great to see you. Good to see you too. I'll give you guys a view looking uptown. You can actually see the top of the H&M building too. Hey, the Mighty Bulls here says greetings and have a great walk, Tom. Good to see you. Sheila is here. Welcome, everybody. Minraj says, what's up, Tom? What's up, Minraj? Bitzita Lopez is here. Good evening. Happy Friday, everybody. Chris says, we still must support our athletes. They have nothing to do with all this politics. Yeah, it's definitely a very, let's say, sticky situation, but I think I'll probably watch maybe some of the highlights. I'll probably watch some of the highlights on YouTube, but as you guys know, I don't really have a TV to watch that kind of stuff. But I'll probably check in here and there on the highlights for sure. Pablo, good to see you. Edson says hi, Tom. Joey says hi, Tom. What's going on, everybody? Blanket says hi. Minraj. NNB045 says happy Friday, Tom. Happy Friday to you too, NNB045. So NNB045 is joining us from Canada. And did you hear about the news, the potential M&A activity between Peloton and Amazon? So Amazon is potentially going to be able to, or at least in talks, to buy Peloton. And if we remember correctly, during the pandemic, that's the stock that everybody was talking about. Peloton this, Peloton that. But the company's not profitable, right? And I think a lot of these sort of hype stocks that are very, very high growth, that have no earnings, I think a lot of people lost a lot of money in these names. And now that valuations have collapsed, I think you're going to see a lot of takeover bids from very large companies such as Amazon. Hey, Dante Rose says, you believe the US dollar value will drop? So Dante Rose, I think overall the US dollar value will drop, but on a relative basis, I actually think the US currency is probably one of the strongest and will continue to be. But that's on a relative basis in comparison to other currencies out there. Hey, Jeff says, where is the snow? Yeah, that's a good question. Well, supposedly it's supposed to start snowing at 9 o'clock. I hope it doesn't, but it's possible. And it's supposed to last for about an hour, but we've had crazy temperature swings here in New York. If you guys remember on last night's stream, it was almost like 45 degrees out, finally. But now it is a brisk 28. But Dante Rose, what do you think? You think the relative strength of the US dollar is going to hold up, or? I mean, obviously, the US dollar is on a one-way trip lower, but on a relative basis, comparing it to other fiat currencies globally, I think it's going to hold up pretty well. Hey, Chris Beeman, good to see you. Man, the wind is picking up. Jenny G says, Tom, I'm watching the Olympics to support the U.S. athletes. I'm with you there. 48 says, evening, Tom. Hope you're well, pal. Very warm and very muggy. I feel very sticky. So 48's from New Zealand. So good to see you from New Zealand. Happy Friday. Hope you enjoy your weekend. Shop by Scott says, I love my Peloton. Hopefully I can race my buddy Bezos soon. Well, I mean, you may get the opportunity because, Amazon is in talks to buying out Peloton. So we'll see. Maybe if EBITDA joins the chat tonight, he could advise us on that because, maybe he's heard about the deal. You never know. Hey, Sanjeev is here. Says, good evening, Tom, and the Walks on Wall Street family. Good to see you, Sanjeev. Tonight we were talking about, obviously over the week we've covered ad nauseum all the earnings, and I think we did a pretty good job of that. Drilling down on Amazon, Alphabet, Snapchat, PayPal, a lot of the semiconductor stocks we've covered, such as AMD and Qualcomm. But there was an interesting piece of news on Wall Street today. Potential takeover of Peloton by Amazon. And one of the reasons why I never bought Peloton stock is because the company is so dependent on one revenue stream of just the workout bikes. And throughout history, those type of things tend to be pretty cyclical. I don't see where the demand is. Obviously during COVID, everybody was tucked away in their homes, but as things open up, I would assume people don't want to continue to sit on their Peloton bike every day. So I think sales are going to taper off, and that's what we've been seeing over the past couple earnings reports. Obviously, during COVID, their sales have exploded, growing at 300% quarter over quarter. But now we're starting to see crazy deceleration. And I think that's for obvious reasons. And as interest rates are going up, this stock got hit, and it got hit hard. Hey, Kevin Lee says good evening from Atlantic Avenue, Brooklyn. What's up, Kevin Lee? Thiago says good evening, Tom and everybody. What's up, Thiago? Joining us from Brazil. We are standing right behind the Madison Square Garden. Actually, in the distance, you could see the Hudson Yards. Hey, Ruby Falcone says good evening, Tom, and new mod shot by Scott. What's up, Ruby? Bella's Gams is hi from Pennsylvania. Jack L says their bikes cost a fortune too, and yet they're still not profitable. Yeah, so Jack L makes a good point. The company is not profitable. They're actually losing money. So a lot of these growth investors were buying into a company at egregious valuations when the company wasn't turning in any profit. And we talk about this a lot on the channel to say, you have to be very, very careful when buying growth stocks, because the vast majority of them don't have any earnings at all. So when the market goes into correction, the stocks that are going to sell off the most are companies that don't have any earnings. And I think we saw that over the past couple of months. But we'll see. I mean, maybe Amazon will come in now that the valuation is depressed, maybe going for a takeover bid. I'm not so sure, but it will be interesting to find out nonetheless. And I'd love to see what you guys think. NMB045 says, Tom, they're not making money because their treadmills were recalled. Yeah, so I did read about that. I think there was a big recall on some of their treadmill products as well as some of their bikes as well. I never knew this was called the Penn District. I think they just put this up. Hey, Swing Boxes is here. Good to see you, Swing Boxes. Penelope says Craigslist was flooded with Pelotons. Bog says, are there many companies closing down, becoming apartments? So that's a good point. In Lower Manhattan, back in the day, that's where you think about Wall Street, the financial district. That's where many of the broker dealers were, the investment banks. But ever since the introduction of algorithmic trading, high frequency trading, a lot of the big financial firms have actually migrated north to Park Avenue. So many of the old financial buildings down on Wall Street are actually residences now. And actually pretty luxury and nice residences as well. Hey, Relentless says, isn't the big Peloton building somewhere around here? Yeah, it is. I think it's on 37th Street. Shop by Scott says, if Peloton isn't making money, somebody better tell my Bank of America account, because they get me for the bike and the app. It's a great community that keeps people motivated. Interesting take there, Scott. Yeah, I mean, I'm not denying that it's a great product, but at the end of the day, they're not a profitable company. Hey, Jatin says, Tom, made the train yesterday. I did make the train. Terry P says, hey, Tom and everybody from Canada. Andreas A says, RIP Pennsylvania Hotel. Penelope's here. M-Mesh Frey is here. Good to see you. Relentless is big surprise with the jobs report today. 467,000 jobs added. Yeah, which is good news, right? Which is really good news. And I thought it was kind of funny. After the jobs report came out, there was a lot of fighting and infighting and bickering on Twitter. Because to your point, the jobs number was supposed to come in horrible. It was supposed to be absolutely egregious. But the jobs numbers actually came in better than expected, which is a good thing, right? Because at the end of the day, those numbers represent real people. And, as an American, we want people going back to work. We want people to prosper. So I was happy about it today. But to your point, we do have to take into consideration that good economic news may be negative for the market because that'll force the Federal Reserve to raise interest rates a little bit sooner. Hey, Razzle Dazzle 786 says, hey Tom, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you too, Razzle Dazzle. Good to see you. Hey, Ruby Falcone is here. Says hello. Beyond the Matrix says, hey Tom, hope you stay warm in this icy city. Thank you, Beyond the Matrix. Armored says, be safe out there tonight, Tom. Thank you. Nikki says, isn't there a lot of empty commercial space? How do you think that will resolve? So there is a lot of empty commercial space, but you know what I'm predicting, and this may take a couple years, right? This may take 5 to 10 years to play out. I think a lot of these big landlords in New York, Chicago, and even perhaps in the Silicon Valley will lease their space to, you know, work sharing companies like WeWork or office sharing companies, things like that. Because I think it may be a little bit more flexible and a little bit more, let's just say, fitting for the times that we're in. And I'll give you an example. You know, I was in the market to renting an office space, but I actually just went with a WeWork. You know, to give you an idea, it's roughly $600 a month. And I have access to every single WeWork office in the nation, right? So I think that's probably a little bit better deal, you know, just judging based upon the fact that a lot of people aren't coming back to the office full time. A lot of the work is going to be a hybrid work environment. So just as any other technology disrupts, you know, I think those office sharing companies are in the right spot for now. Valuations are still a little bit crazy, and you know, not profitable. But if there's any time in history where they could benefit, it has to be now, in my opinion. So I'll give you guys a view of 33rd Street, 7th Avenue. Beyond the Matrix says those job numbers seem to reek similarities of QE. Dean says, Tom, you ever spend any time in the Smoky Mountains? I have not. Good to see you, Dean. Good to see you, Beyond the Matrix. Vinny Castellano says, the wife and I are snuggled up watching the NHL All-Star Skills game and watching you. Well, have a great night, Vinny Castellano. Hope you're enjoying it. Sheila says, Dana Catholic ESG equity strategy thoughts, thinking of investing. So here's what I'll say about ESG investing, right? So ESG stands for environmental and social governance. And I think about a month ago, we dedicated an entire stream to ESG investing, right? And it's very, very controversial. But in my view, I think that ESG investing is more of like a marketing gimmick on Wall Street to grow their overall assets under management. So I'm not too familiar with that ESG fund you're talking about, but what I would do is I would actually look at the prospectus of that particular equity mutual fund or whatever it is, right? And really understand what is in that fund, right? Because oftentimes they'll just slap an ESG label on it. And if you look at the index or you look at the mutual fund, it's just Microsoft, Apple, and all the big tech stocks, right? That's really not ESG, environmental social governance. All they're doing is just, you know, making you pay that premium, maybe of a 2% management fee, and just slapping the name ESG on it. I'm not saying that's what they do all the time, every time, but, you know, I would definitely look through that prospectus and make sure the management fee is pretty low. Because well, let me say this. I can guarantee you in that particular ESG fund, they're probably going to charge you about 1% management fee, which, depending on which stocks are in there, I do not think that's worth it. But that's just my view. I think the ESG narrative is really pushed as a marketing tactic, in my view. Hey, Terry P is here. Good to see you, Terry P. Andrea's A. Good to see you. Marcy M. Says, hey, Tom. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. NMB 045 says, virtue signaling more than anything, if you ask me. Yeah, I mean, you know, some funds actually do focus on it. Some funds do focus on ESG. They'll assign companies ESG scores, but there's also other funds on the street that just use it as a marketing tactic, in my view. Hey, Fresh Start is here. Says, hey, Tom, how you doing? Doing really good. Joey Garcia says, yes, I made it live. Sue Lane is here. Alan Wilson says, what do you get for your $600? Private workspace, cubicle, private office? So you get access to all of the WeWork office buildings, right? So if you've ever been inside a WeWork, or if you want to Google it, the office space is sort of like a co-working like space, right? So it's not a dedicated cubicle, but sometimes there's like those telephone booths you could duck in and take a quick call. But they're actually quite nice. They're actually quite nice. And I think for a startup such as myself, it's probably the best fit, the most cost effective. Photos from around New York. This is so cold. What's up, photos? Emilio J says, I live for this stream. Good to see you, Emilio. Sheriff Joe says, hello, my friends. What's up, Sheriff Joe? Jamie Price, how are you? Good to see you, Jamie Price. Photos from around New York. Ashley says, hello from Honduras. Lori L says, hey, Tom, how's your Friday going? This is a good time to buy a house. When are interest rates going up? So, Lori, the thing I'll say about if it's a good time to buy a house or not, it really just depends on your personal situation, right? It really just depends on your personal situation. In my opinion, I don't try to time the housing market, right? So, for example, I actually just bought a house 4 months ago, right? And I understand housing prices are elevated, but for my personal situation and my financial status and my state right now, it was the right decision for me. You know, it was a moneymaker based upon the cash flows that property is going to provide for me, the tax savings, right? So I think when you ask yourself, is this a good time to buy? Well, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to make money? Are you trying to flip the house? Are you just trying to live in it long term? You know, what sort of tax bracket are you in? Are you trying to make the property cash flow? These are all questions you need to ask, because I think what a lot of people do is they tend to just rush in and buy a house without doing the proper planning. So as long as you do the proper planning, you could really buy in any market condition as long as the numbers work, right? So if you run the numbers work, I say go for it. The cash flow is there, go for it. Hey, Mark Davis, is Tom, still in New York City. Thought you might be back in Miami today. How was your day? Yeah, so with the weather and all this craziness, the flight tickets were really, really expensive for today and Saturday. So it looks like I will be flying back Sunday morning to Miami. Because today the flights were almost like $500. I'm like, no way am I doing that. So the prices are more affordable on Sunday for whatever reason, below $100. Hey, Accident 158 says hello from the Philippines. Welcome everybody from the Philippines. DE says, do you live in New York City or Miami? Or NE says, do you live in New York City or Miami? I live both places. I live both. I split my time 50-50 between here and Miami. Hey, Chris Beeman, good to see you. How are you? NE says, do you live in New York City? Yes, I split my time between New York City and Miami. So now we are in Koreatown, everybody. 32nd Street and Korea Way. And during the weekend, they actually close off the street here because there's a lot of people that come here to party, have a good time. NE says, oh cool, I live in Tampa, Florida, or Tampa Bay, Florida. Very cool. I know Ruby Falcone says $500, that's bananas compared to your $50 flights. Lori L says, my son is a first-time home buyer. He is currently renting. He is tired of renting. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate the advice. Yeah, so Lori, what I would say to your son is do an analysis of how much he's making, okay? How much debt does he have, right? In my view, I wouldn't buy a house if you're in debt. If you're paying off student debt, I would make sure you're totally debt-free before you buy a house. And if your son is relatively young, like I am, like let's say in your 20s, what I would do is I would buy the house and I would, sacrifice maybe 3 to 5 years of my life, and I would rent the individual rooms of the house out. Because what's going to happen is, I know that your son is upset that he's renting, but what's going to happen is his tenants are going to be able to pay his mortgage and his expenses for them. So let's say if your son puts 20% down on a house, he's only going to buy the house for $100,000, but he's going to over time, accumulate a $500,000 asset, but he only has 100 grand in the deal, right? So that's what I would do. Hey, War Walker, it's the TGIF Tom. What is up, War Walker from the 305? We are here. My favorite place, Koreatown, 32nd Street, Korea Way. Accident 158 says, which place is the best to live in spite of high costs of living? I really like New York City and I really like Miami. And those are probably the two most expensive places to live, but I love it here. Hey, Bernard Friedman says, somebody has a really loud exhaust. Good to see you, Bernard. Hope you're well. Orland Edwards, good to see you. Andreas A says, just bought a loft in Soho for $4 million. Totally worth it. Hey, congratulations on that, man. That's awesome. We have somebody else in the chat that actually just closed on a loft in Soho, surprisingly too. So that's awesome. Congrats. Dean says, Tom, joining from Las Vegas. David says, coming from Texas into the city on Sunday. Hope there's some snow in Central Park. Love your channel, man. David, well, welcome from Texas. So David, I actually got a question for you because one of my clients I was supposed to meet in Miami next week had to reschedule because supposedly there's a big ice storm in Texas right now and the flights are a mess, supposedly. So I'm wondering if you're flying to New York tomorrow, did you have any cancellations or delays in your flight because of the storm, or is that nowhere near you? Bernard Friedman says, are they going to do COVID-19 testing in 29-degree weather? I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Fresh Start says, Tom, why is the Empire State Building red? Well, the Empire State Building is going to be changing all different types of colors tonight due to the Olympics. So the Winter Olympics in Beijing, people on the channel were sort of talking to me about the Empire State Building colors changing for the Olympics. Hey, British Gray is here. It's prayers for Texas. Steve says, hey, Tom, how long would it take you to double a 10K investment? Well, I guess it just depends on what it is in. Annie says, just curious if you think Miami or Florida in general will bring more financial firms to New York City. Well, it's definitely attracting a lot of VC firms and hedge funds. So a lot of my buddies that worked in investment banking here in New York City, they've since moved on to VC firms based in Miami. But look, I think Miami is always going to be an attractive place, obviously because of the weather. But I think it'll always have a seasonality to it where people spend the most of the time in the winter and then leave during the summer. I think it'll always have sort of a seasonality, at least in my view. But for me personally, I think the best two places is between New York City and Miami. But that's just on my personal take. No, but there are quite a lot of tech startups that are moving to Miami. There's been a big migration. Hey, Edwin is here. Jenny G. This is my sister delayed 4 hours, headed to DC to Dallas today. Yeah, I could imagine. I've been hearing a lot of that stuff due to the ice storm over there in Texas. So we are walking through Koreatown. Andrea A says, I like Palm Beach better than Miami. I have a couple buddies in Palm Beach. So one of my friends used to be the largest distributor of metals on Long Island. And his main office was in the 395 North Service Road, which is in Melville, which is where the JP Morgan Chase office is for a lot of their mortgage banking. He was a good guy. Now he's in Palm Beach. Lori L says, Tom, my son is 26 years old and has no student debt. Thanks a million for your awesome advice. Yeah, so in that instance, what I would do, if he's making a good income, right, and based upon the cost of living, I would really, really sacrifice the next 5 years. And I would either, have somebody subsidize his cost of living, right? So over the time, let's say the next 5 to 15 years, when you're building equity in that property, You want somebody else to be doing that for you. You don't want any of your real money going into building your equity build in your house. You want tenants to be able to do that, right? Because then what you could do is down the line, when maybe he's 30, he could rip the equity out of the deal, throw it into another deal, and he just got, 2 houses for free, right? That's what you want to do, at least in my opinion. But I would really, really stay away from being too levered up. Really, really watch out for that. So here's another beautiful view of the Empire State Building, everybody, and I think it's just starting to snow. Andrea's A says money doesn't exist, it's all made up. Agreed. Hey, Noah Joseph says, hey Tom, are you hiring or do you do any mentoring programs? No, I mean, you could just pretty much, I mean, the economy's ripping right now. You apply to any tech company, they're going to take you. If you come to New York City, you'll really apply to any tech startup or really anything. Companies are really, really itching to hire people. Hey, Ron 2000 says Long Island. What's going on, Ron? Nice guy is here. Sheriff Joe, good to see you. But Noah Joseph, thank you for joining once again. Hope to see you in New York City very soon. Bernard Friedman, good to see you. NE says, did you go to a Target school or an Ivy League? I did not. I almost didn't even get into any of the colleges I applied to, unfortunately. But I went to John Jay College of Criminal Justice right here in New York City. Oh, and it's just starting to snow right now. But I really, really wanted to go to Baruch College for Finance, which is a very, very good finance school here. Obviously, judging by the name Bernard Baruch. But I didn't get in. The only CUNY school I was able to get into was John Jay. Hey, Daniel's here. What's up, Daniel? Joyce Carter says, happy Friday. What's up, Joyce? Daniel says, how are you, Tom? Sound Money says, thoughts on NFTs. Good to see you, Sound Money. So we've been talking about that a lot on the stream. I think the vast majority of it, especially right now, is all utter nonsense, to be quite frank. However, I do see over the long term the value of having your own infrastructure to be able to raise money without a third party, right? So for an example, let's say you're a freelance artist or something like that, or you want to make movies, right? You can fund your productions via your audience, right? You don't have to deal with any third party investment firms, and I think that's going to give a lot of freedom and power back to people to be creative, and that's just one example of a use case for an NFT. So for example, and I'm not saying I'm going to do this, I'm just giving an example. Let's say you guys, would want me, this is just an example. I'm in no way, shape, or form going to do this ever, but this is just an example. If you guys wanted me to stream for 6 hours a day, right? Obviously for me, that's not feasible because I'm working. But if I could mint some NFTs and say, hey, I will sell these NFTs to raise equity or raise money to have me be able to fund more streams for a longer period of time, right? That's a use case, right? So let's say if you're an artist or you're an actor and you make videos, you don't have to get signed by all these different labels and all this other nonsense. If you have a following, you could mint some NFTs, raise money, and use that money to fund your content and things like that. So I think that's probably what's going to be the best use case for it, for independent artists, and have people really own their own infrastructure. And I think as time goes on, you're going to be able to do this on the company level. Let's say if you have a startup or something like that, and people believe in the vision of your startup, well, you could probably mint some NFTs. But I think as of right now, it's a lot of it is nonsense. So this is the One Vanderbilt building. It's also lit up for the Winter Olympics. Shannon Hall says, what's the first step to buying a house? The first step to buying a house is you got to make some money, right? I'd focus on getting your personal financial house in order. I would focus on getting your personal financial house in order first before you worry about buying a house, right? Because buying a house is not the right decision for everybody. Buying a house could be extremely, extremely expensive and a big money pit, right? Because when you're renting, let's say if the AC blows out, you know, your landlord is paying to fix that. Let's say if the roof starts to leak, you're not paying that, the landlord is. But when you buy a house, that is all on you. You have to pay for everything. And that could be a big, big nightmare. So don't buy a house until you're ready. Hey, P is here. EBITDA is here. Says, hi, Tom. Can't stick around for long, but hope you have a nice weekend. EBITDA, thank you for joining. Before you go, we wanted to ask you if you have any personal insights on that deal, well, the potential deal with Amazon and Peloton. I saw that news break today that Amazon could potentially take over and buy Peloton. And obviously, since you work in the M&A space, I was wondering if you heard about anything, could provide some more clarity. Nice Guy says, I owned for years. I love renting. Yeah, you just have to do what's right for you. What makes financial sense for you? Noah's parents purchased a home and instantly had to replace their water heater and the plumbing and the kitchen. Jeez. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot now. The housing market. Hey, I see Lupe here. Good to see you, Lupe. I think that's what we're seeing in the housing market now. Everybody is having this crazy FOMO, right, to try to buy a house. And they're foregoing all the necessary inspections for their house. And these guys are going to get clocked. These guys are going to get beat over the head over the next 10 years with all these repairs. Never, ever forego any inspections when you're buying a property. Hey, Yanling Chen, thank you so much for the donation. Yanling Chen, thank you so much. Yes, Happy New Year to you too. Thank you. Thank you for the donation. Hey, James Bond says renting is paying on a dead horse. Well, not necessarily, right? Not necessarily. Let's say if you're in debt, right? You're coming out of college, you have student loan debt, and you have a job in New York City. Well, I wouldn't go out and rush to buy something, right? I would try to pay off the debt and focus on getting good at your job and building up an income. I wouldn't focus on buying a house. You should only buy a piece of property if you're financially fit for it and if the numbers work. If the numbers work and the property is going to cash flow, you could buy a house at any time, assuming you're out of all personal debt, in my view. Hey, Kay says, who is watching TV show Friends now? Good to see you, KH. Subrix says, prices are way high in my opinion. I don't want to pay those prices even if I could, so decided to stay with renting. I think that's a great decision. Fresh Start says, can we see the Freedom Tower? We will. Jerry says it's a marathon, not a sprint. With Fresh Start, we will check out the Freedom Tower. We're on Park Avenue. I think it's just starting to snow out. I think especially if you're young, you really want to have mobility, right? But if you can buy a house and then you're renting it out to somebody and your total cost of living is subsidized, that I would do, because the time you've built 100% equity in the house, you haven't put any money in the deal, right? And when you're young, let's say if you're in your 20s, that's when you want to be able to, travel for work, really focus on your career and focus on building your income. Let's say if you're in software sales, investment banking, whatever industry you're in, you should double down on making as much money as possible and prospering in your career. Sometimes you don't want to be anchored down by a house if it's only you living in it. Hey, Bev Stewart says, go truckers from Canada. Daniel says, good advice. NMB045 says, never came into family or peer pressure in buying. Listen to what your income is saying to you. Agreed, 1,000%. Mark Davis says, Tom, I heard that Missouri just became the 37th state to legalize medical cannabis. I did not know that. So everybody, Mark Davis in the chat, he is from Toronto, Canada, but he is a medical marijuana expert. Karen says, actually renting can cost more than buying a house now. You have to have great credit. Interest rates just went up as well. Yeah, Karen, again, I think you're right. It just depends on your personal situation. But that's a good point there, Karen. Hey, P. Alexander says, I love New York. Screw the tooths to Southern California. Can't go wrong buying a house. Noah Joseph says, what skills should I focus on to really develop financially in the city with room to grow? I would focus on your networking skills, right? So if you're moving to New York City, there's a lot of successful people here, like a lot. So I would focus on getting to know people. You know, even if you come here and you just work at a Starbucks, right? Every single person who walks into that Starbucks, you should have a smile on your face, ready to greet them, you know, get to know the person, because you never know who you're going to be talking to, right? You never know who you're going to be talking to. So if you wake up every day with a positive attitude and a go-getter attitude, you know, people are gonna notice that. You know, they may not notice that from day one, but people will notice that. They will take note of that, and you're gonna begin to grow your network into people who can really, really help you out, right? Because oftentimes, you know, it's not just about what you know, it's about who you know. So if you could focus on building your skills, you know, let's say if you come to New York City and you're working as a software engineer, I would try to be the best software engineer I could possibly be, right? And then I would do that between the hours of 9 to 5, but from 5 p.m. to midnight, I would focus on my networking skills. What charity events am I going to in the city? You know, what sort of public service am I doing? Because charity events, public service events, these are where the big players hang out, and that's where you want to be too. And plus, it's fun. You know, you're in the city, a lot of good people, a lot of diversity here. So that's what I would say. But the Empire State Building, I can't get over how great it looks tonight. Hey, Bubba says, what's the best part of New York City? I mean, in my opinion, that's very opinionated, but I really like the Upper West Side. NE says, buying a house, ? I work for a very large financial services company and can't even afford rent where I live. This is NE. Jerry says, energy attracts like energy. Tux Brown says, Tom is a duck. EBITDA says, walks in Wall Street. I answered you twice in the chat. Ooh, let me see. Sorry about that, EBITDA. EBITDA says, there have been rumors for a while. Amazon seems like the perfect company to take them in. They have all the logistics and infrastructure to make it work if they can loop it into Prime somehow. It's a good take. It's actually a really good take, EBITDA. Thank you for that. Yeah, so everybody, EBITDA is works in mergers and acquisitions at BAML, Bank of America Merrill Lynch. So always good to see what EBITDA's thoughts are on things. Good to see a Tux Brown, NE Penelope. Noah Bernard Friedman says, do you really need a huge mansion when you are only living one person? I don't think so. Probably not. Hey, Sunshine After Rain is here. What's up, Sunshine? Steve says, minimum down payment for a house in Toronto, Canada is $250,000. Wow, that's a lot. Steve, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, the property prices of the housing market in Canada has really been on fire. Really, really crazy. You know, it's the same thing in New York City and Miami. You know, I think we dedicated an entire stream on Tuesday to talking about the New York City rental market. And for the first time ever, one of my good buddies sent me this New York Times article that says for the first time ever, the median rent in New York City is now $3,400. Pretty crazy. Hey, Smee Media says, Tom, did you make the train last night? I did. I did make the train. I was actually maybe about, I would say 3 minutes early for the train too. So I appreciate that, everybody. We almost missed the train last night, but thank you for asking. Hey, Sally is here. How are you, Sally? Good to see you. Hey, Tux Brown says, lease to own is coming. You know, Tux Brown, it's interesting you mentioned that. The last stream we did in Miami, we dedicated it to the whole lease to own thing. So very interesting. Screw the Tooth says Los Angeles is no joke either. Yeah, I mean, LA. Sorry about that. Yeah, really every single major city, you know, is really on a tear. RCM says we were on the edge of our seats last night for you getting to your train. Yeah, non-government issued, says Tom. San Francisco is no joke too. Yeah, San Francisco is really, really crazy. So this is Koreatown, one of my favorite places. I'll read the comments once we walk through Koreatown. I'll let you guys sort of take in the sights and sounds of Koreatown. Hey, Raphael is here. What's up, Raphael? Yanling Chen says Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too. Hey, Ibrahim Azam. What's up, Ibrahim? Good to see you, Ibrahim. Ibrahim Azam is our moderator from California. Man, it is cold out here tonight, though. Hey, Lily Ray. What's up, Lily? Good to see you. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Somebody says I'm sick of the endless captchas. I'm using a VPN. Well, what I would suggest is you could just use the Brave browser. So we were talking about the Brave browser on another stream because the developer or the creator of JavaScript, Brendan Eich, he's actually leading up a project for the Brave browser and basic attention token, which I believe is one of those cryptocurrencies. But check it out, Brendan Eich, the Brave browser, very good alternative to Chrome. You could also block all the advertisements. KH says, Tom, Korean fried chicken is so good. I agree. Mark Davis says, Tom, are you planning on writing a book one day? You have so much knowledge on the markets. I don't know, probably not, but we'll see. I just really like writing the newsletter. So I do write a financial newsletter if you guys want to check it out. I send it out every single week, and I think it's starting to snow here. So if you type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop a link to the Behind the Street newsletter that I write for everybody every single week. Numero Uno says Brave is my secondary browser, Tom. Very cool. So let me know if you guys could see the snow on the stream. I think it's just starting. Let me see if I can point the camera towards the light, and let me know if you guys could see the snow here. Hey, Mighty Bull, good to see you. 267 says we're being ripped off of living in these big cities, infected with rats and trash. I kind of agree with that, actually. Hey, Chad Tucker's here. What's up, Chad? Good to see you. Abdul says it's snowing. We could see the snow. Cheesecake Jane says newsletter link, please. So if you guys want to sign up for the newsletter, it's completely free. All you have to do is in the chat, if you type ! and then news, N-E-W-S, the Nightbot will drop the link. So just look for the Nightbot. It'll say sign up for the Behind the Street newsletter here, and you can do that. Q50 says I'm good night from Kingston, Jamaica. Oh, cool, man. I should get to work in New York. Would be easy for me or hard. I may need a permit to work. So I'm really not too sure about the legalese of all that, to be totally transparent with you. However, I think you would do fine working in the United States, but you may need some sort of a working visa, which I'm not too sure which particular visa that may be. Boggs says winter advisory in effect till 11. And the wind is picking up. Daniel says, good evening, Tom and everybody. NMB 045 says, Tom, I did not receive newsletter 12, and it's not in my spam either. Really? That's interesting. Huh. So NMB 045, if you go to the website, is it up on the website? Try to click the link and see if you could read it on the website. Because I've been having a lot of problems with it going to people's spam folders. Hey, Alicia's here. So now we are looking uptown, and this building right here is the Bank of America Tower. Hey, Kim Grant is here. Good to see you, Kim Grant. Smee Media says, Tom, I saw number 12 on the website. Are you on a 5G network, or how do you broadcast so beautifully? So I'm not on a 5G network. We're running 4G LTE. And thank you for the compliment. Hey, Edward, Florida says, hey, Tom, my publicly held company announced 16% yearly bonuses for its employees. How do I minimize the taxes on this payout? That's a good question. It may be hard to do because bonuses are oftentimes taxed at a higher rate, unfortunately. I would see if you can have your employer direct the bonus into, or a deposit of the bonus right into a retirement account that is tax deferred, perhaps, but I'm not sure they'll be able to do that. Or that particular pay period, you could increase your funding to your, maybe your company-owned 401k account, something like that, to mitigate the tax burden on that bonus. But yeah, I mean, that's been a big issue, because there's I think obviously abnormally sized bonuses going out this year. But congratulations on that, by the way. M says, what's your opinion on day trading? I would never advise to do it. I've never met one successful day trader in my life. I think a lot of people are perhaps wasting their time. When they're trying to, sit at their computer and day trade like a $10,000 account and grow it into $1 million. I think that's probably a waste of your time. To be quite honest, I would focus on getting really good at your career and making a really, really big income, in which case you could make large bets into a concentrated amount of things. Hey, Super Friends in the City's here. What's up, Super Friends? Fernando, good to see you. It's snowing out tonight. Wasn't expecting that. But, let's actually take a walk directly under the Empire State Building. And, we were talking about Microsoft's earnings. And LinkedIn performed way better than analysts expected. And LinkedIn obviously is owned by Microsoft. LinkedIn is obviously owned by Microsoft, and their offices are actually in the Empire State Building. So we'll take a look at that right now. Lupe says, Tom, hopefully you're not wearing shorts tonight. We are not. So the Empire State Building is constantly changing colors tonight for the Winter Olympics in Beijing. Hey, Jari115 is watching from Liverpool, UK. Send some snow this way. Thank you for watching. Russell Miller says, Friday Philly check-in. What's going on? Fernando, good to see you. Yeah, everybody. Fernando, so Super Friends in the City is another fellow streamer, so please check him out. Alicia says, oh, it's snowing. The only thing I miss about New York City. Yeah, I'm actually, you know, it's funny, Alicia, I'm actually not too big of a fan of snow, but, you know, once in a while it's nice. XXX says try investing into the 3 favorite things you like the most. Tanya S says, hey Tom and everybody, hope all's well tonight. What's up, Tanya? Kate is here. Lupe says, Tom, you should walk down the sidewalk. Relive your catwalk days. 48 says, it looks like it's getting heavy, the snow. Yeah, I think the snowflakes are wet, very wet snowflakes. Chris, good to see you. Andrew says, what street are you on? So we are walking eastbound on 34th Street. And we were actually just at Herald Square. We were walking eastbound. Hey, Desi Guy USA says, hey Tom, good evening to all. What is going on, Desi Guy USA? So now, this is where the Empire State Building starts. So right here, all the way down. So this is the Empire State Building observation deck entrance. Right here. Lori L says, Tom, are you headed back to Miami tomorrow? Hope you have a great weekend. Thanks again for all the advice. No problem. So I'm not gonna head back tomorrow because the flights were crazy. It was only like almost like $500. So maybe we'll head back on Sunday. But this is the very front of the Empire State Building. So this is what it looks like to stand directly under the Empire. Cool on 516 is Tom, judging by the size of the snowflakes, it looks like it's about 32 degrees or so. I think that's probably a fair assessment, to be honest. I think that's probably fair. Lily Ray says, will you stream while in Miami? Yeah, so we stream all the time from Brickell. It's beautiful. Hey, Rich is here. Says, thanks for having me from Wisconsin. What's up, Rich? Good to see you, pal. Hope you are well. Paul Oliver says, it's cold outside, it is. Shot by Scott says, I'm going to have to send in a rescue team for Tom, extract you back to the walls of Miami. I'm down. Are you broadcasting from a camera phone? I am. This is an iPhone 11. Hey, hi Tom, huge fan from Brazil, thank you. Always love our Brazilian viewers. As we reach 5th Avenue. So this is 5th Avenue and 34th Street. We're actually gonna cross the street, head uptown, so you guys can see an even better view of the Empire State Building. But first, I want everybody to check this out. So this is the very top of the One Vanderbilt building, which is a brand new building that just recently finished construction, and it has an unbelievable observation deck. I've not been to the observation deck just yet, but it is amazing. MTR says howdy from Dallas. What's up, MTR? It was a crazy week on Wall Street. We covered a lot. You know, we covered a lot this week on the stream, from Amazon's earnings to PayPal to AMD. We really covered a lot. So if you guys want to do a complete earnings review, feel free to check out some of the previous streams on the channel from this week, because we really hammered down and accomplished a lot today. I mean, this week on the stream. Hey, 481 says home ownership is the best. What's up, 481? So now, so this is 5th Avenue. We're walking up 5th. Hey, Raphael says, Tom, we love you live. Congratulations. Thank you, Raphael. Good to see you. 481 says, Tom, I did that on my 5th grade trip. MTR says the job numbers were good today. They were. They came in really good. So the job numbers beat expectations, which is what we want to see, right? Here's the only caveat. So obviously, behind every single number in the jobs number. That's an actual, real, living, breathing human being, right? So it's good to see that Americans are getting back to work. But here's something we got to worry about. Have you ever heard the term, good economic news is bad for the stock market? Well, that may be the case in this instance, because the job numbers are coming in better than expected. That's probably going to fulfill the Federal Reserve's mandate for 100% employment. So it may lead them to raise interest rates faster than expected, which could put more pressure on very high beta growth stocks. So we'll keep an eye on it, we'll monitor it. Hey, 5 facts is high. What is the average salary for a web developer in New York? How much is the taxes based on earnings? So 5 facts. If you go to, here's what I want you to do, and this is a really good resource. If you type into Google $100,000 after tax in New York, the first link, I want you to click the first link, and it's going to take you to a website. I forget the website, but it'll tell you what the after tax take-home pay will be in every single state and city in America. And I always use that tool. So if you type that into Google, I think it's like the first or second link will bring you to the website, and you'll know if you're at the website if you scroll down on the page, and you'll see an iceberg. It'll be like a little iceberg. Emilio J, good to see you. MTR says the Fed is always raising the rates. I mean, historically, not really, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, numero uno says COVID money is ending. CB says, are you a fan of sports? I'm not really too big of a sports fan. 267 says, moving down to Winter Garden, Florida this summer. Very cool. Enjoy. Lenny says, checking in from Seattle. Enjoy your live stream. Thank you, Lenny. Appreciate it. Cynthia Beal says, does anyone here own a 2-family? I have a tenant question. Well, I don't own a 2-family, but I bought a single-family house, which is now zoned for a 2-family. So I could maybe help you with your question. So we'll cross back over 5th Avenue. But, you know, I think you could probably, the salary for like a software engineer, it's probably going to be into the 6-figure range. It depends on what company you work for. But if you work at a big FANG, it's definitely going to be a 6-figure salary. Hey, Leonardo says, I'm here having a coffee and watching your live. Congratulations, and I really like it. My father sends a big hug. Hey, thank you so much for that. NE says, how would you recommend finding a good CPA? I mean, I don't know. I can't really advise on that, but I think my CPA is probably the best CPA ever, to be honest. And I got very, very lucky. He's located here in New York. If you could get somebody you know and you trust, I think that's good. Look at their credentials, and maybe try to get a referral. That's what I would try. Hey, Joyce Carter's here. Good to see you, Joyce. Cool Toys says, do you like the winter? Not particularly. Not particularly. Smee Media says, what do you like about the Upper West Side of Manhattan? A lot. I think there's a lot to like about the Upper West Side. It's more residential. There's a lot of good coffee shops, a lot of good restaurants. And it's not like the Upper East Side where, you know, it tends to be a little bit more snobbery. But, I mean, all places are beautiful, but that's just my opinion. That's my view. Yeah, you're lucky. You've never invited us to a single person. Ooh, Cynthia Beal. So you're how many months delinquent are they on in their rent? NMB 045 says, Tom, Canada lost 200,000 jobs. But, you know, so we covered Amazon's earnings report yesterday. But after looking into it a little bit more, you know, a lot of their EPS gain actually came out of their one-time Rivian investment. So if you want a good Korean place, this place Hanbot. It's actually, in my opinion, one of the best Korean restaurants in New York City. One of my personal favorites, Hanbot. But so here's something that's concerning about Amazon that threw me a little bit off. And we talked about it a teeny bit yesterday. Their forward guidance wasn't that great, right? So analysts were expecting one number. Amazon guided a number that was significantly lower. So that was one concern for me. But a bright spot of Amazon's earnings report was obviously their AWS or Amazon Web Services growth. So they still hold the number one spot for cloud computing. Number two is Microsoft Azure. And number three is the one and only Google Cloud. And Amazon's advertising revenue is now more than YouTube, which is pretty surprising. So they're doing a great job over there at Amazon with their advertising revenue, now overtaking YouTube, which is a subsidiary of Google. So this is 35th Street and 6th Avenue. This is looking downtown. Hey, MTR says IBM Cloud. Yeah, so the IBM Watson Healthcare unit, I think they actually just sold that off. I think they liquidated that and sold it off. Hey, Kenneth says it's icy here in Connecticut. What's up, Kenneth? Good to see you. Cynthia Beal says they did pay, but it was late. So, I mean, as long as they paid Cynthia Beal, I would not, in my view, I would not even bring it up to them, right? You want to make sure the tenant is happy at the end of the day. And especially in this environment, you do not want to upset them, because then they'll just say, okay, I'm not paying you at all. So just as long as you got your money, you know, in my view, I would keep quiet. But that's just my opinion. Let me give you guys another look at the Empire here. Armored Knight says, love your live stream. Thank you, Armored Knight. Lena Sandoval is here. Roy S. Smee Media says, Tom, have you ever been in the audience of Stephen Colbert? I have not. Jerry Covey says, do you use first in, first out on your active trading? I just lost your comment. On your active trading for tax accounting? I don't. And I have a couple reasons for that, which maybe I'll actually do a whole standalone video on that. But now, you know, since I have revenue from the business, I actually just leave everything to my CPA. But that's a good question, and I will touch on that. Jan says, you have to be the Wall Street guy with the tightest brains / for East Coast for sure. I love your streams from MTL. Little weird, but okay. Penelope says, I think you were spot on there, Tom. Good to see you, Penelope. We're checking out the Empire State Building tonight. Hey, Andy's here from South Korea. Damon Michaels says, what a view. Good to see you, Damon. MTR says, my landlord charges me a $75 late fee after the 3rd. Yeah, I mean, I think in this environment where, especially over the past year, let's say during the COVID pandemic, where people are just not paying their rent. I mean, at this point, I would just be thankful that people are paying their rent. Weston Mass Dave says, I never missed a rent payment. Respect. So if you guys are enjoying the stream tonight, as we are here on West 36th Street and Avenue of the Americas, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hey, 007 says, Tom, what are your thoughts on Microsoft hiring Apple's lead ARM chip developer? Microsoft Azure on ARM chips would be interesting. So I was actually reading an interesting article about that in the Wall Street Journal, but it was actually pertaining to Microsoft it was actually pertaining to Meta hiring away a lot of Microsoft's developers to work on the metaverse. So here's why I don't think it's a cause for concern. Because ever since COVID happened, right, every single industry across the entire economy, whether it be healthcare, whether it be tech, whether it be investment banking, financial services, whatever it is, we are seeing extreme amounts of employee turnover, right? Employee retention over the past 2 years has been at historical lows. And that's because for the first time ever, employees have the pricing power. That's why you're seeing a lot of people leaving jobs to go get new jobs for higher pay. We're seeing wage inflation across the suite of all the investment banks. They've increased basic salaries for analysts, for associates, for managing directors. They're paying bigger bonuses. So I think it's normal. I wouldn't say that one company is going to particularly suffer one way or the other, because you got to understand, once one person goes, there's 10 other people in line to take their spot. So I think it's healthy for the industry as a whole. But, I was reading an article in the Wall Street Journal that was detailing and outlining how Meta is headhunting Microsoft employees and sometimes even paying them double their normal salary. Alexander says, I wish media paid more attention to wages and how inflation is causing them to go down. Good to see you, Alexander. NE says, I think the start is you are likely getting underpaid once you get a third year at a company. I think you're probably spot on that. Numero Uno says, Amazon is getting too big. It should be broken up. Interesting take. John Sorley says, getting paid double. That would be great. What's up, John? Emilio J. Penelope's here. MTR says, Chick-fil-A, awesome. Not too big of a fan of Chick-fil-A. Not too big of a fan. XXX says, yeah, because of not having work for 2 months here, and I'm broke in Montreal, and I'm forced to move to the streets for March, I suppose. JA says, what are your thoughts on Meta and whether social media continues to inevitably run out of growth? So I don't think social media will inevitably run out of growth. What I do think will happen is platforms will change. And if you actually go to my YouTube community page, I actually posted a poll. How often do you guys use Facebook? Do you use other social media platforms in replacement of Facebook? And one of the reasons why I put out that poll is because if you listen to the Meta, formerly known as Facebook's earnings report, this was the first year on record that Facebook had decelerating average daily user growth, right? So analysts were expecting, I'm not sure the exact number, but Meta, formerly known as Facebook, came in well under expectations in relation to their average daily user. So in my view, I think the saturation point has matured in the United States for Facebook users. But if you're talking about emerging markets, I think it probably still has a little bit of a ways to run. But I think that's why we saw Meta stock getting hammered, down 20%. I think one of the biggest or the largest market capitalization declines in history after an earnings report. Because if there's a company that's decelerating in their earnings and their sales, and you have a company like Alphabet or Microsoft that's continuously growing, money's going to shift from one place to another. But it should be interesting to see how it plays out. Hey, Alex is Twitter, LinkedIn, Insta. Good to see you, Alex. Yeah, Paul Stein says CNBC said Amazon is taking on Peloton. Yeah, so that is the topic for tonight's stream. We were talking a little bit about that today. How Amazon could potentially buy Peloton. Scurvy Tooth says totally agree. Platform chains. Hey, Chris Coffee is here. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. I hope you are well. Yeah, Western Mass Dave says Prime is also increasing as well. Good to see you, Ruby Falcone. Christy says, do you ever visit the Diamond District? We do. We sometimes go there. Alexander says, I wonder if Meta will be in my MySpace. Samuel's here from Brazil. Good to see everybody. All right, let's cross the street here. Hey, JMT Productions says, good evening, Tom. Not ready for you to go back to Miami. Appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, Nick is here. So what's up, buddy? What's up, Nick? Good to see you. So I think, if I remember correctly, I'm not sure if I programmed it in the Nightbot, but everybody, so Joey in the comment section, he actually owns his own coffee company right here in New York. So I believe if you type, I forget the command, but I think it's ! Joey in the chat. I believe the Nightbot will drop the link. Oh, no, it's not that. I forget. It's, man, I'm horrible with the Nightbot. I think it's ! Joey, how do you spell the name of your coffee company? Because that's the command. So it's ! I think it's A, let me see. Cafe, yeah, AMMI. So if you type ! AMMI in the chat, it's going to drop a link to Joey's coffee company. So let's try that. Carolina Tom says, Tom, this year's lows will be tested and passed through. In the very near future, have cash ready, buddy. Good to see you, Carolina Tom. I'd probably say my portfolio, my long-short portfolio, is probably right around maybe about 50% cash. And the only reason for that is because I did buy on the follow-through day we had on Monday. Right, so whenever there's a follow-through day, I do stick to the rules. I buy at least 2 stocks. So I bought ServiceNow and Apple with a 7% stop loss. So if those stop losses get hit, then I'm back to, I believe, about 85% cash. And if we crack the lows, I'll wait for another follow-through day, and we'll make some money. So did the Nightbot work, everybody, for the thing? Let's see. Yes, it did. So if you click this link, it says, please check out Cafe. I'm horrible with the pronunciation. Is it Ami, I believe? Emmy. So please check that out. Go to the link. It's awesome to support small businesses. And we actually have a person in the chat that owns his own coffee company, which is incredible. So cool. And he was actually nice enough to send me some coffee for free, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for that. Ami, got it. Copy that. So Cafe Ami. Penelope's like, Tom, you got to walk through the thing again. All right, we'll walk through it real quick. We'll walk on the outside of it. Hey, Ron says, hey, Tom, welcome to the weekend. What's up, Ron? Yeah, Joey, if you're ever in Miami, let me know. So I did just sign up for WeWork. So if you want to come up to the office, go ahead. Hey, David Choi's here. What's up, David? Good to see you again. But Carolina Tom, you know, you could be right. You could very well be right. The market may break these lows. But I am like really, really crazy when it comes to my investment processes. Like, I follow them to a T. I try to be as systematic as possible and try to sort of detach from all emotion. So anytime we have a follow-through day, I have to deploy cash, even no matter how egregious the market may look. And that's sort of what I'm sort of leaning towards as well, that we're probably going to crack these lows. But if there's a follow-through day, you have to buy something. But if my stops get taken out in my long-short portfolio, I'll be back to like 80% cash, and then we'll wait for the next bull run and we'll make some cash. We'll do it. NE says, do you ever release your stock picks? I don't give out any stock picks. I think that's actually illegal. You have to be a license for that. So this channel is very different, right? It's not like all the other YouTube channels out there where the thumbnails have pictures of people with their mouths open and all this nonsense, saying like Dogecoin and all this nonsense to the moon. You know, I try to give you guys data and free resources to help you develop a systematic process to investing, right? Watching some YouTube videos with people with their mouths open saying, make the next stock that's going to go up 100%. That's not a systematic investing thesis, right? You can't create duplicity across that environment. So real money managers on Wall Street follow a systematic process, right? So earnings growth, sales growth, return on equity, pre-tax, after-tax margins. You know, these are the things that real money managers look for, right? So if you as yourself can formulate your own investment decisions and formulate a real thesis, I think that's a lot better than, you know, asking for like a pick. And that's why you'll notice a lot of the topics of discussion will not be saying, oh, you should buy this stock, but we'll really just analyze a lot of the earnings. I'll help you guys understand how to really read these earnings reports, you know, understand how to read the 10K, the 10Qs, you know, how to understand a balance sheet, things like that. So we're getting close to Times Square, and the snow just stopped. So it looks like the snow is almost done. Hey, Cosmo's here. What's up, Cosmo? So Cosmo, the city bikes are finally back in action. Hey, Alexander, this is Tom. Thanks for the tip regarding the IBD podcast. This is awesome. I have recommended it to several friend investors. Thank you for that. Yeah, so the IBD podcast is really good because they actually sit down with real money managers on Wall Street, right? So that's you know, a lot of the interviews, sorry, it's getting windy here. A lot of the interviews are with real money managers who run real money on the street, right? Not somebody running, you know, a couple $100,000 from the basement, you know, real systematic processes and procedures of investing. Hey, RJ is here. What's up, RJ? Laytha is here. Says hello, everybody in chat. Laytha, good to see you. Hope you're well. Bubba W, good to see you. Laytha says if the thumbnail shows a mouth agape, I'm not clicking it. David Troy, I did hear that too. So that mall is probably going to go bankrupt, right? Joey says, Tom. So Joey, I just pick it up at the corner store. Well, I actually have it delivered to my house in Miami, but You know, I think if you walk into like the 7-Eleven or something like that, you could probably just get the paper. I think it's like $5, something like that. But in my opinion, the Investor's Business Daily is the best newspaper out there, because it's not only about investing, right? It showcases the latest and greatest companies that are the most disruptive in the world. So you could actually read the Investor's Business Daily, not just to get ideas for an investment, but also get career ideas, right? Because if you're reading about the newest cybersecurity company that has the best identity and access management software, well then maybe as a software engineer or as a developer or even as a salesperson, you know, maybe that's a company that you want to look into to be an employee, right? So what you want to do is you want to be able to identify the fastest growing companies in America with the most disruptive products, and you want to go to try to work for them and invest in them, right? And then you'll learn a process of how to work for a company, and then maybe you could even launch your own startup. Yes, so Shop by Scott did get a wrench. He did. Yeah, but Joey, if you walk into any corner store, you can probably pick up an IBD there. But the IBD digital, I think, is good too. Numero uno is market makers have AI supercomputers trading and insider trading to rig the system. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. High frequency trading really provides liquidity, right? It could exacerbate moves in times of liquidity shock, but I think algorithmic trading and high frequency trading is actually a good thing, in my view. Hey, Michelle McGraw's here. What's up, Michelle? Happy Friday. Jetstar says, hi, Tom. What do you think about those hostile takeover attempts at Kohl's? Well, I think they denied one, didn't they? Didn't Kohl's give a big thumbs down to that? Hey, Ryan. What's up, Ryan? This is home New York at last. I can see home. MTR says Berkshire Hathaway is $445,000 a share. And I think it's the 10th largest company in the S&P 500, I believe. So here we are outside of the Salesforce Tower right here. So Mark Benioff's building, ticker symbol CRM. They specialize in customer relationship management software. And they actually just acquired Slack. Hey, Lou G says, hey y'all. I've got no power or internet, but wanted to say hi. Lou, take care, man. Get that internet back ASAP. Ernest says, thanks for the knowledge, no problem. XXX says, City Bikes coming out of Montreal. Very cool. Jetstar says, hi, Tom. What do you think about the hostel? Oh, yeah, I think I answered that one. Joyce Carter says, warm weather is going to be here. It's almost the end of February. Sean says hello. Good to see you, Sean. Stephanie says walk through the Upper West Side soon. We'll take a walk through the Upper West Side pretty soon, but tonight I think we're just going to stay in Midtown. But we definitely will check that out. So we are on the corner of 47th or 42nd Street and Avenue of the Americas. And we'll take a quick walk through Bryant Park. Okay, we won't take a quick walk through Bryant Park because it is closed. We will do that another time. Here, I'll show you guys the Bank of America Tower. Check out how tall this thing is. SME Media says, Tom, what is your next step with the YouTube stream? And do you think it will take over as your job? No, I just do this for fun. I like walking around, hanging out with you guys, talking about finance. And it also builds a really, really good network of people, right? So I think a lot of the viewers on the stream provide a lot of value to my life. You guys are all very smart individuals and have a lot of interesting things to add, so I appreciate that. So this is what the Empire State Building looks like from outside Bryant Park. Ah, yes, Cosmo, we may do that. We may do that very soon. But I think maybe many years down the line, maybe I want to open up like a family office, something like that. But I probably would never manage outside money. Wow, check this out. Look at this. One Vanderbilt, and you could actually see the Chrysler building in the background too. Hey, Abdullah is here. Says, is there Turkish food on the street? So, you know, I think the only time I ever had Turkish food, I think I was in Queens, but it was really good. But good to see you, Abdullah. Hey, Stephanie's here. Says the Empire State Building looks pretty, lit up in all those colors. Hey, Joey Garcia says, later, dude. Happy Friday, Joey. Noah says, do you do this for a living? And do you enjoy it? No, I don't do it for a living, but I do enjoy it very, very much. Look, I mean, we get to meet so many cool people from all over the world and very intelligent people. Hey, FredX, just walking with you in Alaska. Wow, very cool. Thank you, everybody from Alaska. Cynthia Beal says Bryant Park looks different. So I'll try to show you guys at least a little bit of Bryant Park, but it is closed, unfortunately. But my office is right here, right next to the Radiator building. I think, yeah, it's just a WeWork, but it's really, really nice. David Choi says, is it icy out? It's a little bit icy. A teeny bit icy. All right, so let's head back over to Grand Central Station because I think it's so cold out that my phone is acting a little bit weird here. So we'll take a quick walk around Grand Central to warm up the phone, and we'll be on our way. Hey, Joey Coffee says, one of the best trips I took was to Alaska. SME Media says, does Bryant Park still have the ice skating rink? I believe it does. Hey, Kevin Sunderland, thank you so much for the $20 donation. Kevin, you're always so nice, man. This is happy weekend all, obsessed with finding the right price to initiate a PagerDuty trade. Yeah, so Kevin, what I would do, PagerDuty is a good company. Let's check out how their earnings come out. But the stock has a lot of overhead supply, right? So as we know, a lot of these growth stocks have been getting hit hard and getting hammered. So you have to be cognizant of that. A lot of the times people will be, let's just say, very eager to buy a stock just because it's down. But a lot of times stocks that are down could stay down for quite some time. So what you want to do is you want to look for relative strength. right? So during a correction, what stocks are going down less than the average stock on the market? Because if a stock is going down less than the average stock in the market, that means a lot of institutional money managers are not selling that stock for a particular reason. And those particular stocks tend to perform the best once a new bull market comes. So even though PagerDuty is a great company, I think we actually have somebody on the stream that is an account executive at PagerDuty. I think it's the Austin Tennis. You want to make sure it clears a lot of that overhead supply. And even I would buy it at all-time highs. So if it can get back up to all-time record highs, assuming the earnings and sales are good, maybe it would be a good entry point. Warrior says good knowledge of buy low, sell high. Well, you know, actually sometimes I think that's a little bit of a misconception, right? The buy low, sell high thing. Because let's say if you bought Alibaba just because it's going down, you know, that thing is down and it's staying down. So a lot of the times what you want to do is you actually want to look for good fundamental stocks. If you're going to buy individual stocks, you could also just buy an index fund that tracks the S&P 500, because now about 30% of the weighting in the indices are really made up of all the major tech stocks. And I believe one major healthcare company in Berkshire Hathaway. But you actually want to look to buy really good stocks when they're breaking out to new highs. You know, when there's stocks that are at all-time highs, those actually tend to be the better performers. When things are down, you know, they could stay depressed for quite some time. Hey, MTR says, night, Tom, have a safe weekend. Thank you. You too, my friend. I appreciate it. Cosmo says, I'm too dumb to buy individual stocks. I'll just buy the S&P. Well, Cosmo, you're probably going to outperform about 90% of money managers on the street. So I think you'll be fine. And judging by the fact that, you know, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Apple, Berkshire Hathaway, United Health, these are the major stocks in that indice. So you're getting exposure to all those stocks. Tesla as well. Joey says buying individual stocks is exciting. It is. I agree. Hey, Otto's here. What's up, Otto? Joey says ARKK. That's another one of those ETFs. Kathy Wood's ETF. I wouldn't buy that thing unless it clears a significant amount of overhead supply. But right now, that thing is, you know, it's looking like the top of the NASDAQ in 2000. And things could stay down for a long time. So I wouldn't just buy it just because it's down. Wow, I think this is a great shot. It's the Chrysler Building. And I hope you guys could see the snow coming down too. If you guys love this shot of the Chrysler Building, give it a thumbs up on the stream if you're enjoying it. But Kevin Sunderland, thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate you so much. Shop by Scott says, Fernando says it's not snowing on the Upper West. How is that possible? You know, it's weird. I think it just, you know, it was snowing hard a little bit and then it stopped and now it's snowing again. Hey, Bagels and Walks. What's up, Bagels and Walks? Good to see you. Tanya, it's good to see you. So now we're on the corner of Madison Avenue and 42nd Street, headed towards Pershing Square. Hey, NMB 045. TD Bank. So this is the brand new One Vanderbilt building. Hey, Heartland Explorer is here. Hey Tom, it's been a while. Good to see a Heartland Explorer. All right, let's take one quick lap around the inside of this building. Hey, XXX is here. What's up, XXX? NMB 045. Tom, thanks for the mention. Yeah, NMB 045, you always mention TD Bank. Oh man, that is cool. Yeah, guys, we're gonna have to duck into the terminal here. Joyce Carter, I am. Indeed, I am. Good to see you, Joyce. Vinny Castellano says, please hit the like button. Appreciate that, Vinny. Happy Friday, Vinny Castellano. I hope you and your wife have a great weekend. Somebody says, how did I jumpstart the stream? So we were just streaming and a lot of people started to join, but our friend, I'm not sure, Fernando's in the chat, Super Friends in the City. I actually ran into Super Friends in the City in Times Square one night. And I believe that is how Sunshine After Rain and all the others saw the channel. So please check out our friend Fernando. Super Friends in the City. Hey Marcy M, good to see you. Man, it feels good in here. Hey Matthews, is Trinidad in the house? So now we are inside the Grand Central Station. Western Mass Daves, as you saw the stream. Ah, very cool. Kim Grant's suggestion for your YouTube channel came up on my page. So this is the inside of the Grand Central Station.
Melrose first stop will depart from the lower level track 105. Attention online customer, you are 1104 to southeast, making White Plains first stop. Will depart from the upper level track number 28. The 1104, making southeast, making White Plains first stop. Will depart from the upper level track number 28. 1104 to southeast, White Plains first stop, will depart from the upper level track number 28.
Hey MTR, thank you for joining today.
Line customer, you're 1054 to Poughkeepsie, making Spike and Dive first stop, will depart from the upper level track number 30. You're 1054 to Poughkeepsie, making Spike and Dive first stop.
So this is the very famous clock here.
30. Attention Hudson Line customer, you're 1120 to Croton Harbor, making Yankee East, 153rd Street for a stop. Will depart from the upper level, track number 26, 1120 to Peloton, making Yankee East 153rd.
Hey, Maria Castellanos says, good evening, Tom. Catching up late. Been baking all day and watching hockey. Hope everything is well. Yeah, everything is really good. Thank you for asking. Hope you have a really enjoyable weekend. Good to see you, Tanya S. Oh my God. Somebody says if you have access to all the WeWorks in the country, you should stream in every city in America. I mean, I would, but I don't have time. I don't have any time. I have about a 2.5 hour window to stream and hang out with you guys. And then it's pretty much right back to work after that. Hey, Rock Miller 3 says, greetings from Detroit. What's up, Rock Miller 3? We're just warming up a little bit in the Grand Central Station, but then we're going to walk back uptown. But it is a cold and snowy night in New York City. Hey, Jimmy says, hello from Montreal. Another snowy day. Shoveling all day. Hope everybody's safe and warm. Right back at you. Hey, Paul Stein says, Tom, did you make your train last night? I did make it, just on time. Layda, good to see you, Layda. Mona M says, beautiful station. It is. I think this is probably one of the most beautiful train stations in America. Hey, Scott says, can you find the secret tennis club in Grand Central? I don't think I can, but I remember there was a squash tournament here.
Attention, customer. This is your last call for your train.
Hey, WW says, love seeing the notification that you're live. Thank you, WW. Here, check out the chandeliers here at Grand Central Station. Beautiful chandeliers. Amazing artist. Good to see you, amazing artist.
All luggage and parcels must be attended at all times.
JMT Productions. This is, at what age did you become interested in the stock market? Probably, I don't know, early teenager. I was just interested in how companies worked. Because as Peter Lynch says, so Peter Lynch was the former mutual fund manager for Fidelity Magellan Fund, and he's like, you got to remember, behind every stock is a company, right? And I think a lot of times people can forget that behind every stock is a company because they're just trying to buy a stock to make money. But you increase your odds of making money if you truly understand the fundamental workings of a business, right? So how to read an income statement, a balance sheet, cash flow statement. So that's sort of how I got interested in it. Hey, Leonardo is here. Good to see you. Photos from around New York. What's up? I hope that guy makes his train. That guy was me yesterday. Running to make the trains. So this is what Grand Central Station used to look like back in the day. WW says, did you go to school intending to go into finance? No, I went to school for criminal justice, surprisingly. All right, guys, we're headed back out into the freezing cold. So check out the MetLife building here. Hey, Daniel says so many movies were done here. What's up, Daniel? Gustavo says, hi, I like your channel and the spectacular city of New York. Love from Mexico. Good to see you. Andrea says, should insider trading be illegal? Yes. So here's the main front entrance to the new One Vanderbilt building. Gregory says, Tom, the cold and the snow doesn't really bother me in the winter. It's just the dryness. Yeah, surprisingly, I really like it humid. I think this is one of my favorite lobbies in the city. These things are pretty cool. Hey, I Shih Tzu Not says, hey there, watching from Fort Lauderdale. Love Fort Lauderdale. Good to see you. Thank you for watching, everybody, tonight. So the topic of tonight's stream, we were talking about the potential acquisition of Peloton by Amazon. But obviously this week was an action-packed week on Wall Street for earnings. We had a follow-through day on Monday. We had Amazon reporting earnings. We had Atlassian. We had AMD, Qualcomm. So a lot of the big heavy hitters on the street reported earnings. We had Alphabet. So we covered those at length on the stream this week. Hey, Smee Media says, thanks, Tom, I gotta run. We'll have a great weekend, my friend, and we'll see you soon. We'll see you very soon. Hey, Michael Johnson here says, happy Friday, Tom. Hope all's well. Yeah, everything is going really good, Michael. Hope you're well too. Joe says, where is Trump Plaza? So that is more uptown on Fifth Avenue. Well, check out the snow over here, everybody. Right here is like a cloud of snow. Hey, Maria says hi from Spain. What's up, Maria? Good to see you. Hope you're well. Oscar says World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE, reported for the first time $1 billion in earnings. Wow. I did not have time to cover that one, but that is awesome. That is awesome. So I believe we're passing the Hyatt Hotel. I'm not sure if it ever opened from after the pandemic. Does anybody know if this Hyatt the Hyatt Grand Central ever opened. I think maybe it did. But right across the street is the Cipriani, which is a beautiful building. Hey, Jay says, I heard the Hyatt will be torn down into a bigger building. Wow. Well, this is going to be a mess if they really tear it down, because it's going to be a lot of construction. Somebody says, Tom, do I move my investments around in my 401k? No, I don't really. I just index it and leave it alone. Cosmo's scary. Cosmo, any big plans for the weekend? What are you doing this weekend, Cosmo? Hanging out? Hey, Sue Lane says they've been saying that for years. What about the Hyatt? So this is the Hyatt. I'll show everybody. So this is supposedly a very nice upscale hotel. But in my opinion, it's a little bit dated on the outside and not in the best of neighborhoods, in my view. I think the outside is perhaps a bit dated. Vigil Gaming says, what do you do for a living? I am in tech sales. Tech sales. So you could think enterprise software, telecom, hardware, you name it. So now we're crossing Lexington Avenue, and this building right in front of us is actually the Chrysler Building. But we usually look at the Chrysler Building not from this angle, but this is the Chrysler Building right here. Photos from in New York says, Tom, the facade on the building is actually a newer facade. Yeah, it looks newer, but it's like a dingy newer. It's like a tacky, more dingy newer, I guess. But here's one of the front doors of the Chrysler Building. So right here, you can walk right into the Chrysler Building. Somebody says, Tom Hawk, good to see you. NWO, interesting. Hope you had a good experience with that. Hey, Tech Explorers NYC says it's snowing. Good to see you, Tech Explorers NYC. So everybody, my phone may die in a bit, but if you enjoyed the stream tonight, feel free to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you are new. But we'll stream till the phone dies, so maybe about 20 more minutes as we pass the Capitol Grill here. A lot of big Wall Street guys go to the Capitol Grill, and very often on the channel we pass the Capitol Grill down in Miami near Brickell. Hey, NMB045 says, I want to see the Bloomberg building one day on the stream. So I'll talk to Michael, I'll send him a couple texts, and we'll see if we can get up to the tower. But usually very rarely do we stream from the Upper East Side, but maybe we'll do that very soon. Hey, Noah says, hey guys, throw a like for the stream if you watch the whole way. Noah, have you landed in New York yet or not yet? Vigil Gaming says, what is your age? I'm 26. Oh, here we got a Tesla right here. Photos from around New York's like Tom is a personal friend of Michael Bloomberg. Hilarious. Noah Joseph says not yet. Driving from Cali to New York City on March 6th. Well, please have a safe drive. That's a big, long adventure. So please drive safely. So when we cross the street here, we're going to be able to see a great view of the Chrysler Building from the other side, as well as one Vanderbilt. Ooh, now the snow is coming down hard. So directly in front of us, we got the Chrysler Building. And on the left side, you have the brand new One Vanderbilt. But everybody, I've been having some problems with the API hookup via MailChimp for Behind the Street newsletter. So there's going to be 2 newsletters that go out. There was supposed to be one that went out this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, but everybody said they didn't get it. It was supposed to be the 13th edition. I don't know what's going on. I have to check it out. So hopefully tomorrow night, everybody will be able to receive 2 emails, 2 newsletters from the Behind the Street newsletter. So once again, if you want to sign up for a free financial newsletter, if you type !news, N-E-W-S, in the chat, the Nightbot will drop the link where you could sign up for free. Hey Andy, good to see you. Andy is joining us from South Korea. Hope everything is going well in South Korea, Andy. So Andy, is it snowing in South Korea? Some of my friends in South Korea said this past week was freezing. Hey, Chris Reed is here. What's up, Chris? Good to see you. As we cross Lexington Avenue. Liz Ann says you have a radio voice. Thank you, Liz. Sam Pod says, Tom, are there still live floor traders on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, or is it all automated? Well, the vast majority of trading activity on Wall Street is completely automated. A lot of it is algorithmic, high-frequency trading, but the floor of the New York Stock Exchange, believe it or not, does still have some real floor brokers and traders. But I would say about 97% of everything at the New York Stock Exchange is really just for show. You know, CNBC does a lot of interviews from there. It's pretty much a TV studio. There's really no use for traditional broker dealers anymore, or actual people, because the vast majority of this is all automated. Hey, thanks for the stream, Tom. Driving to work now at 4:45 in Germany. We'll hope you have a good day at work, and thank you for joining. Brian B says, Tom, is an insurance broker a lucrative job? Yeah, it definitely can be. Definitely can be. If you're one of the best insurance brokers out there, for sure. Okay, now we're crossing under Pershing Square. And whenever we cross under here, I think of Bill Ackman, because Bill Ackman's hedge fund is Pershing Square. He actually put out a massive bullish thesis on Netflix, and his hedge fund just made a sizable investment into Netflix, Bill Ackman. Noah Joseph says, when did you move to New York? Well, my family's from New York. I'm from New York. Christopher says they don't build them. They don't build them like they used to. Funny. Hey, Mohammed's here. What's up, Mohammed? Good to see you. Somebody says grab a cup of coffee. I do. I may actually. You know what? When I walk back to Penn Station, I may get a cup of coffee at the McDonald's there. Maybe. I gotta see. Wait. Maybe decaf. We'll see. Ooh, I think these people are gonna miss their train. I gotta get out of the way. Hopefully they'll make the train. That was me yesterday. So hopefully they'll make it. Brian B says, Tom, who's your favorite soccer player? That's a hard one. That's a very, very difficult question. Maybe that's a hard one, man. You know what? I really liked Kaká, as well as the original Ronaldo. Robinho was a great. Roberto Carlos, great player. So I'm gonna say Roberto Carlos. Hey, Pixelogic says, Tom, did you make your train last night? I did. I did make the train. Hey, Oliver John says, greetings from Hartford, Connecticut, the insurance capital of the world. Good to see you. We've got a lot of road work here. Somebody says try a blueberry muffin from McDonald's. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that tonight. I respect these guys a lot. It takes a lot of work to do this outside. Big respect to these guys. Hey, Unlimited Stimulus is here. Good to see you. Yeah, we did have a better than expected jobs report today. Good to see you, Unlimited Stimulus. Hope you're well. Let's see if we can make this light. So now we're passing 5th Avenue, 42nd Street at the New York Public Library. This is actually the Steven Schwartzman building. And as we know, I say this every time, but Steven Schwartzman made the vast majority of his money on Wall Street with LBOs, or leveraged buyout deals. And in that library, there's actually an original copy of Margin of Safety by Seth Klarman. And I believe there was only 2,000 books ever in print. And there's an original copy there, Margin of Safety. Hey, Winnie, thank you so much for the $5 donation, Winnie. Thank you so much. This is for the blueberry muffin. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. And happy Friday, everybody. Hope you have a good weekend, because, I mean, wow, this week took a lot of work out of me. Let's just say that. So hopefully everybody takes the time to relax. Hey, Al J, good to see you. Al J says hi, Tom, and everybody. Hey Tom, how are you? I'm doing good. Excited for the weekend. Excited for the weekend. Jim Forever says hi. What's up, Jim Forever? Good to see you. Hey 48 says we have a long weekend in New Zealand, Tom. We'll enjoy it, my friend. Please enjoy it. Kim Grant says, I'm sure you are sick of this question, but when do you go back to Miami? I'm not sick of it yet. Not sick of it yet. But I should be headed back perhaps Sunday. So we're walking westbound on 42nd Street, passing Bryant Park. Brian B says, Tom, New York City or Miami? I live both places and I like them both. I really, really enjoy them both. But here's another view of the Empire. Bianca M says, are you coming back to New York? I live in New York City and Miami, both places. So yes, I'm gonna come back. Hey Animal DL, good to see you. So now we're crossing 6th Avenue, which is Avenue of the Americas. To our left, you're gonna see the one and only Salesforce Tower, Mark Benioff's company. Great CEO, one of the best. And then to your right, you're gonna see Bank of America Tower. And directly in front of us, you're gonna see the ball that they drop on New Year's in Times Square. Hey, Crazy Otto is here. Good to see you. Good to see you, Crazy Otto. Brian says, I use Salesforce at work. Very nice. Hey, Sarah G is here. Michelle McGraw, good to see you. What time it is? Can we get just a quick time check in the chat? Apologize. Uh, 10:55. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Aaron Prill, what's up, Aaron? Cynthia Beal is here. What's up, Cynthia? So now we're at 42nd Street and Broadway, the crossroads of the world, I guess, if you will. So we'll end the stream at the NASDAQ. I think that'll be a great place to end it. The NASDAQ. One of my favorite places. So thank you everybody for joining tonight. If you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And tomorrow we should have 2 issues of the Behind the Street newsletter sent out to everybody. So thank you, David. Thank you, Penelope. Thank you, Obama. Appreciate it. Cosmo Scary Mike. Thank you, XXX Obama. David MN Latha. Bianca M, British Gray, Michelle McGraw, Lady O, Sarah G, the other David, Shot by Scott, Otto, Kim Grant, and everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Friday. Charlie Richardson, nice guy, everybody. Hope you enjoyed tonight's stream. This week we covered a lot on the channel. We covered the large swath of earnings. We'll do a quick recap over the weekend, but take some time to relax, enjoy yourself, recharge for the week ahead. You guys deserve a day off. And if you type !news, NEWS in the chat, it'll drop a link where you could sign up for the Behind the Street newsletter for free. And to the Mighty Bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there's always a bull market somewhere. And you just need to know where to look. And I'll see everybody right back here tomorrow on the stream. Enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend. We'll see you very soon. Have a good night, everybody. I think there's something wrong with the screen. I'm trying to hit end, but I keep tapping the end button and nothing happens. Well, Out and About is here. What's up, Out and About? Good to see you. Estelle, thank you for joining. I think my phone may be malfunctioning. I'm trying to click the end button on the stream, but it's not shutting down. Bianca M, Emilio J, Cosmo Scary, thank you. Not sure what. This could be an issue. Warwalker, Marty Lewis, thank you. Marcy M. Well, I mean, look, I appreciate you guys, but I'm trying to swipe up. I think my phone is malfunctioning. I think it's frozen or something, because not even my power button will work. Huh. Warwalker, appreciate it. Roy S. Hey Troy 1995, good to see you. Well, I mean, I guess I can keep the live on. I keep clicking end, but nothing seems to be happening. Yeah, Brian B, like none of the functions are gonna work. All right, I'm gonna try to hard reset the device. So I'll see everybody in the next one, and have a very, very fun and restful weekend. Michelle McGraw, I'm trying. All right, I think I'm just gonna have to turn the phone off. So I'll see you on the next one. I got to get the train, and thank you all the moderators. Oh my God, man, this is crazy.